What is going on, everybody? The Bills have started camp, and it's a little testy. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about Von Miller comments about the city of Buffalo. We have some opinions on this right here. Josh Allen looks good. But most importantly, I got my guy in the building with me, as we like to call him, NFL pedigree, former NFL running back James Mallory. Mal, what's good, my guy?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Let's being on, man. I'm happy we back. We got football, so we got a lot of things to talk about, but it's going to be a good show tonight. You already know. Let's get to it, JT.
Yeah, man, let's hop to it. And yeah, I mean, yes, football is back, and it's, I mean, you know what? One thing I noticed, I went to camp the first day, I think it was Sunday. I went to camp actually after hanging out with you at night. We went to camp, and just the electricity and the status that the Buffalo Bills have right now is crazy to me. You know, I can only imagine this is what it would be like if social media and the media was as big as it is now, back when they were obviously in their run in the early 90s. Because when you go to a camp, you've never seen Drew Rosenhaus, a Peter King, and some of these huge outlets sending their top reporters to a Buffalo Bills training camp day one. That's just not something that we're used to. We're not accustomed to that. And I think that's one of the things that when we have a player like Von Miller, who, if you know anything about Von kind of speaks his mind. And sometimes it could come off a little raw for people. And I think that's one of the things that we got to talk about tonight, because I do think that people are misunderstanding him. What do you think about, just in general, just about the buzz that's around Buffalo right now in the team?
It's something I really never have experienced, even during the Super Bowl years. I mean, I was young, but yeah, it's just I've never experienced it here in this town. I mean, the buzz is crazy. You know, I think we got the best quarterback in franchise history. No disrespect to Jim Kelly, but I mean, this dude brings a different type of buzz, man. He brings a different type of excitement. So this is very exciting, man. I mean, you turn on ESPN, every time they talk football at ESPN, they gonna talk to Buffalo Bills. Never fails. And that's a great thing, you know, instead of being talked about when you talk about the top 5 teams picking in the draft, then that's the only time the Bills come up, or the top 10 or whatever the case may be. Right. So, you know, I'm excited about it, man. And obviously the whole town and Bills Mafia is as well.
No, I mean, they definitely are. It's huge excitement right now. And like I said, I turn around and I'm at camp, and obviously shout out to my guy Zach Moss there for getting me the family and friends tickets or credentials, whatever you want to call it, to the field pass. And I'm turning to my left, and I'm with Clayton. Took Clayton with me, and I'm looking to my left, and there's Drew Rosenhaus standing right next to me, and I'm like, Drew Rosenhaus at the Bills camp day one. I don't know if Drew Spence has ever been. I don't know if Drew Rosenhaus has been back to Buffalo since Terrell Owens, technically.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
really, when you think about it.
Yeah. You got a good point there. Thinking about it, yeah, you got a real strong point there, JT. He probably has been, man.
Right. So I just thought that the buzz with the vibe was good. And mind you, as hard as to believe, as many as Bills events as I've been through, as many Bills games I've been to, that was the first time that I have ever gone to a Bills training camp.
Really?
It was the very first time that I ever went to a Bills training camp. Like I said, once again, much love to my guy Zach Moss for getting me those tickets. get me out there because we know how fast they sold out. I want to go back. I want to take the 5-hour drive and go back. That's how much fun I had. And I think too, speaking of that, that's how electric just it was there in the fandom, and to see all the guys going around and signing the autograph for the kids, to see Josh giving his cleats away yesterday. I wasn't there yesterday, but giving his cleats away yesterday, and just it was really we really felt like that's what Bills Mafia is all about. And maybe that's why Sean McDermott ultimately wanted it back at St. John Fisher.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a great move. You kind of get the fans involved and everybody traveling. It's a different environment and different feel out there. It's kind of a neutral location, so to say. It's at the home. They had the facility, and it's like you come here, go home. It's like that's where they live in. That's where they're going to be for the next 2.5 weeks, and you just grind it. It brings me back to like the college days. Like, there's no way you can get that type of feel, being home, so to say. You can get a great, not only you can't get good working on the field, but just the team chemistry and being together, like that's, and just going to the college. That was just, it was unique. You really get to learn your teammates. You got to rely on your teammates. We was together for 3.5 weeks, just us, right? And all we did was focus on ball and getting to know the guys you're going to go to battle with for the next few months. So
right,
it's awesome.
No, I mean, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by it. So, like I said, I definitely want to go back. Maybe I'll go back in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens. But obviously, we got some football to talk about. When you go back to the beginning of the week, obviously the quarterbacks came out. The early was the quarterbacks were struggling a little bit, which I think you kind of expect. They come in a little bit rusty. Obviously, Matt Barkley is the worst of the three right now, which that should come as no surprise, as Case Keenum is honestly a French NFL starter, and Josh Allen is Mr. MVP, hopefully.
Remember a few years ago, we was hoping for Case Keenum to come here to be our starter when we was looking for a veteran.
Yeah, we did.
When he had that
right?
season in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was after Minnesota, right?
Yep, that Minnesota season when he lit it up.
Where did he go, to Denver after that? That's where he went, right? He went to Denver right after that.
Yeah, I believe it might have been Denver.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I agree. So one of the biggest stories is the obviously receiving core with Stephon Diggs, and obviously our guy Matt Parino came out with a post on Twitter that fans tried to drag him on. And actually, shout out to our guy Matt Parino and Ryan Talbot as we went out and caught their live show at Resurgence Brewing, I think last Friday night. That's pretty dope. So shout out to them for putting on such a great show. But fans tried to drag him for it. And honestly, I don't think he's too far-fetched with saying Jamison Crowder could be cut if other people show up and show out.
Yeah.
Jamison Crowder is not a lock to make this roster necessarily.
I don't think, realistically, when you look at it, I don't think nobody on the receiving core is a lock besides Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. Obviously, the rookie, they're not going to cut him. You draft him. We drafted him 5th round.
5th round.
The likelihood of them cutting him and his potential is slim to none. So those three I look at as locks. I was one that was saying that I think it could be McKenzie. I mean, if Crowder just come bomb out, then why not? It's not like he's untouchable. I think he's going to win the number 3 job. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. But it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Okay. No, it is possible, and that's why I say, I don't think that people are taking that into consideration. That's how deep this team is. When you look at this roster, you could probably say up and down this roster now, you got to get to 53 men that probably at least anywhere from 40 to 44 spots are probably taken. Maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, probably. I was going to say probably a little bit more. We think deep into it. It's going to be, we could name off the top of our head, we can name 30 right now as locks, like right off the top of our head. And then that's not even depth pieces. Those are guys going to play significant roles. When you look at the starting 22, then you'll look at the punter, kicker, long snapper. That's 25 right there without us even thinking. So we got our start. We know who the starting 11 going to be. There's really no open jobs for the starters, right? So we kind of let's do the math here. So you're starting 11 on defense. Let's not count Trey White because we're not anticipating he's going to start the season. So then you add Trey White to that. That's 23, right? And then you go, 24 is the long snapper, 25 kicker, 26 the punter, right? Then you look at the backup quarterback, which is going to be Case Keenum. That's a lot. So that's what, 27? You know, yeah, that's 27 right there. And then, that's just without us even like thinking about even going into it. You know what I mean? And then you think about OJ Howard. He's a lot. That's 28. So it's like when then you start thinking about depth pieces, dude, we can name 30 without even just being lazy. We just gonna name 30 right there.
It's a good problem to have. So I mean, like I said, that's not even putting in this in the secondary. And our guy, we'll be taking questions tonight too, because this is kind of a freebie show. We'll talk about a few things, but we'll take a lot of questions tonight. And our guy Jay Spence, shout out to Jay Spence over at Buffalo Rumblings, says, "I know it's still early, but what are we looking at when it comes to punt return, kick return? Who do you think has the edge there? The Bills have to improve on special teams, right?" I know, James. I know how you feel about special teams. Like you can see the excitement on James's face, man. I think if he loved any game phase of the game out of the three, he probably loves special teams the most.
You can't change the game quicker than you can on special teams. Anything else. A block punt, block kick, or you return a kick or punt, that changes the game quicker than anything. That flips it quick. And that's one thing that people, for whatever reason, people look at the game different than I. So I respect that. But for whatever reason, people look at that punt and kick return. It was bad, man. It was bad. And I was never comfortable when I sat and watched the other team punt the ball and the ball's in the air. I'm like, please don't muff this punt. Every time this season, I'm like, just field it. Like I will hold my breath. I'm thinking, man, I got to go Tavon Austin, man. I mean, just if you look at our roster, who do we got that'll just break somebody down and just elusive and just literally got moves and boom, 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 boom. I'm not talking about somebody straight line speed, which is Isaiah McKenzie, right? He's straight line fast. Like we have a few guys that straight line fast, but somebody that's going to be that exciting and just break somebody down. Singletary, he tear people's ankles apart. People don't give him the credit for that. He break them.
Oh yeah.
He breaks them down like a double barrel shotgun. That dude, he do it. And then after that, Tavon Austin gonna get boogie. Other than that, who we got that'll get boogie? I mean, Stephon Diggs, he can, but you ain't
gonna put it back in no punt return. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not an option.
We ain't putting him on no punt returns. But man, let's be real here. I would have to say it's gonna be Tavon Austin gonna win that job. McKenzie, they've given him every opportunity for multiple seasons now to lock that position, or not multiple seasons, multiple games to lock that position down. And he just hasn't done it yet.
So answering this question, because I think this is a very good question, because this obviously affects the roster spots. I think kick returner going to the season with Isaiah McKenzie back at kick returner. I don't think he was bad at that spot. I think that's, like you said, he has straight line speed. You're not really looking to get boogie on a kick return too much. There's not too many Dante Halls out here. You're looking for somebody to pick a hole and go. But I don't like him at punt return because of the ball security, right? I think this is where Khalil Shakir comes in. Now, when I was at camp on Sunday, I saw Tavon field some, but I saw Shakir field most of the punts, I felt like. I think that's how he's going to find his way onto this team outside of being the number 5 receiver. Marquez Stevenson, I think you said it best last year. He's not a natural returner. He looks very uncomfortable, and I can't see him somehow just turning to an elite receiver this season to make this roster. So that's why I said it takes me back to Isaiah McKenzie will probably be your kick returner, and I think Shakir is going to be your punt returner. And the only reason I think that Tavon Austin will not make this roster, the only reason I think that Tavon Austin will not make this roster is I just think that it's too stacked on both sides and to have just a kick or punt return. Now, mind you, let one of these guys struggle early and put that ball on the ground, and he's a free agent or he's on a practice squad, he'll be getting a call real quick because they're not going to go into the season playing around with it.
I look at it like this, and I respect that opinion. What Super Bowl contending team is going to put trust in a rookie fielding punts? Not really, unless he was elite in college at it. And I mean, you just can't, because one muffed kick can lose you a game. special teams can lose you the game quicker than anything.
Mm.
And I just don't see them trusting the rookie. Maybe spot duty. I mean, this team is built to win now. So if this team is built to win now, you're gonna go with that 32-year-old veteran and still go. Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. And that's not saying he can't do it, but this team talking about a Super Bowl. You don't got time for growing pains at punt return in a Super Bowl contending team. It's just that's how I look at it. And honestly, even with McKenzie, he's a good returner, kick return. When I look at returners, I look at the ability to protect himself. When he runs, he's not a natural runner. He doesn't protect himself too well. Watch how he runs. He runs pretty. He's a shorter guy, but he runs upright. He runs with high pad level. And if you're running with a high pad level at kick return, it's a death mission. Somebody will run through his chest, and they're gonna break him up. Yeah, I mean, just look at how he runs back. He runs upright. He don't run with the low pad level. He just don't. And that's just the honest truth. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but I look deeper into the return thing, because that's what got me money. Like, I led the country as being the number 3 rusher in the country my senior year in college. I led the country in punt blocks, and I was a punt returner, kick returner. And it's like, when I look at it real deep, and McKenzie just not natural to me. Can he do it? Yes. Can we win him as a kick returner? Yes. But he's not natural. When you look at Tavon Austin, you go at the high school, college, he's electric. And it's very hard to find that. And I think that's why they brought him in. When they brought him in, they don't bring veterans in at that time to cut him. They bring him in to get used to the system, and they bring him in for a reason. Now, you got guys like that signed in at the beginning of the camp and things like that. Like, okay, if it work out, cool. If not, but you don't sign people during OTAs and all of that, veterans like that, just to cut him. He has a realistic chance at this roster, and I think punt and kick return is where they're looking at him at.
So let me ask this question: Would you dare keep a 7th receiver, possibly, maybe even number 6 receiver on his roster, only for punt return? Would you go back? Now, mind you, neither one of us had a problem with that Andre Roberts role when he was here, but a lot of people did. Would you dare keep a 6th or 7th receiver on his roster for just that role right there? That's just punt return.
Yes, possibly, because I look at it different, because I think they'll carry 9 D linemen this year, not 11. So that's going to open 2 spots. That's where I think that spot comes into play. I think so.
I'm thinking too. I'm thinking it'd be a good idea for us this week too. I'll get with you. We'll release our projected 53 roster.
Let's do that.
We'll get that. We'll get that graphically done. I think that'd be a good idea.
I keep saying to JT, if McKenzie doesn't ball out in camp and he's your number 4, why would it would make sense for you to go Crowder at the 3, Gabe Davis is your 2 receiver,
right?
Stephon Diggs your number 1. Not saying McKenzie is bad, but just think about it from a numbers perspective, right? Shakir's gonna make this team. You're going to want to get him some reps, because realistically, he's going to be on number 3 next year. That's just realistic. He's going to be the guy in the slot next year. So why not keep Tavon Austin and let McKenzie go if he's not going to bring a ton of value to you in special teams? Why keep him? Why are we keeping him to be the number 4 and take reps away from Shakir? If you wouldn't mind taking reps away from your number 4, which will be Tavon Austin, you could take reps away from him because he brings special teams value, and Shakir get to speed later in the season, and you ease him into playing. And then now when you take Tavon Austin and move him to that maybe 5 receiver week 10 or 12, that doesn't hurt you as much because he's still bringing you value on special teams. Why are you going to take reps from this guy if McKenzie may not be here next year? If Shakir is what we see in camp early, he's going to be a number 3 next year. So it just makes sense to get him those reps that way.
Right.
And to me, I look at it that way. I could be wrong, but I look at it that way.
I mean, I have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I've been saying for the last couple of years, I think that we should carry probably 6 receivers, probably even 7 receivers on his roster, with the 7th one being your return man. You know, like I said, for me, I would probably edge out a guy like Tywan Jones and replace that spot right there with Tavon Austin and figure out the other gunner with maybe like someone like a Nick McLeod.
Yeah.
Someone who's going to be on the roster in general. That's personally what I would do. You know what I mean? I'm for keeping all 3 of those guys on the roster. because I thought it's been at times in the past 2 years where we got in the games and we've had injuries happen and we're looking around like, yo, who's our next receiver? And we don't even have another receiver available. There's been multiple times like that. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, preseason is going to be tough, but if Tavon doesn't come out and shine immediately in the preseason, he's not going to make the roster. I think he's right now, I would say he's the odd man looking in.
And to check this out, this is why I say 6 receivers as well in Tavon and not the 7th, because James Cook, you can play him at both.
Yeah, you're right.
Get that. And I just think when I look at it, I mean, I'm cool with McKenzie being on the roster. I think he's a good player. But when I look at it from you looking longevity or you looking long term, and mark my word, if you don't lock it down and you don't have Tavon Austin as a punt returner, there's going to be a game that is going to cost us because of the return game. Unfortunately, it's going to happen.
No. I mean, we special team caused a couple games last year. It did. I mean, and we never had a guy on any return team that switched the field. I think we had the one game where McKenzie returned it back for a touchdown. We got a holding penalty against Andre Smith. What game was that? Was that Pittsburgh?
I cannot remember.
I can't remember which game it was. Anybody watching, if you can remember what game that was, let me know. It was a game where McKenzie returned it for a touchdown and Andre Smith got the holding penalty. And I just don't.
I like McKenzie. It's not that I don't like him. I like McKenzie. He's not going to be mad because he can ball, but he's just so inconsistent, man. And that's what scares me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so far, a couple of days in the camp, he's doing well. But moving on, we want to get to a couple of topics tonight before we get off the air. Obviously, the first thing I want to talk about tonight is actually, obviously, if you guys heard the news, Diggs and Elam got a little tested today. And James, I really want to pick your brain on this since you're the professional here. You know what I mean? Of how these things work out. Obviously, Elam's a rookie coming in, trying to make it mark his territory in a way, and Diggs is an all-pro who's been killing people for the last 7 years since he's been in the league. So I want to know, when you hear something like this, and obviously if you guys don't know the story, today Diggs and Elam had to be separated after I believe Elam made a play on Diggs. Diggs felt like he was holding him. I believe I'm trying to think who separated them. I believe it was like Jaquan Johnson or somebody got between them, whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what they said.
I forgot what the name they said.
Nick McLeod did.
Nick McLeod, yep, you got Nick McLeod, yep. So I love it. I mean, as a competitor myself, and I'm ultra competitive. I love to hear that, especially with a rookie coming in. Now, mind you, Kaiir Elam is no average rookie for the simple fact that he has 2 NFL bloodlines right above him, with his father, Abraham, playing in the league for I think he played for like 10 years. Yeah. And then his brother, Matt, being a first-round pick, I think he lasted about 5 years. So, and thank you guys. I think it was Tennessee. Thank you, Brian Schultz. It was Tennessee where Andre Smith got that holding penalty. I appreciate you.
I think Matt is his uncle.
Matt is uncle?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Matt is uncle. Yeah, Matt Elam is his uncle. Yep. And Abraham Elam is his father. So obviously, they've already kind of told him what it is going into camp. Now, obviously, you don't know till you get there, but he got some training wheels before he got on his bicycle. When you hear that, what are you thinking, man? And then did you see any fights when you were with the Buccaneers?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, man. The statute of limitations is up.
No, man. There's going to be fights in camp. I mean, it's hot. You're sick of seeing the same person, sick of seeing the same people. It's just like, come on, man. Another day is like Groundhog's Day. It's like time, boom, boom. Same thing over and over and over. So, yeah, that happened. That's going to happen. Now, what you want to see is, and what the veterans are going to look at is are you going to back down? Obviously, he didn't back down from the challenge. So that's the type of personality you want as somebody at corner. You don't want somebody to take the high road at corner. Your corner got to be somebody that's a competitor, want to get at it, and has an edge to him. Obviously, he's shown that he's not going to back down from Diggs, and I guarantee you Diggs respects him more for that. They feel like, oh, my bad, Stephon. I'm just trying. No, man, like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? I can get with you. You know what I mean? So you want to let them know, I'm here. We're going to compete. We're going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to push you. You got to push me. This ain't no easy W over here. And I'm happy that's the type of guy that we got that's going to be on the opposite side of Trey White. So, man, that's a great sign in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, no one wants, excuse my language, no one wants a punk out there, especially at cornerback.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You don't want no punk at cornerback, man, because that's probably the position you have to be outside of quarterback. You probably have to be almost mentally tough because you have to come right back at it. And like you said, I think that Steph has an all-pro. You're gonna respect that dude for coming back at you. I was actually watching a podcast with or Vlad TV with Glenn Big Baby Davis when he's talking about him getting into Kevin Garnett. And his first day, he didn't know what to say, so he told Kevin Garnett F your swag or something like that. And KG didn't talk to him. He went to apologize to him, and KG said, "No, I don't apologize. I respect you for that." You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what you want to see. Leslie Frazier's on record for saying that they need Kaiir Elam to step up very early, obviously with the uncertainty about with the uncertainty of Trey White. Now, mind you, I saw Trey White working out on the side at training camp Sunday, and he looks solid, but it doesn't look like he's performing a lot of football workouts. You know what I mean? It looks more like rehab. So I'm going to assume he's going to be on that PUP list for the first 6 weeks. I think this is remarkable, and I hope that Elam is going to be not only in Diggs' face, but I want him in Gabe Davis' face. I want him in Jamison Crowder's face. I want him in the face of anybody he lines up against. Because when you get the respect of these dudes, and mind you, this is one of the best receiving cores in the NFL, if not the best receiving core in the NFL. And if people don't realize that, they will by the end of the season.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to gain the respect of anybody that you line up across this season. And there's not one receiver inside this division, including Miami and including Tyreek Hill, that is better than the receivers on this receiving core.
Top to bottom, absolutely.
Top to bottom, absolutely. It's not even close. So I'm just saying, I just feel like that's exactly what they're looking for. That's exactly what they need. And I think that his NFL bloodline has a lot to do with that. I'm going to come in. I'm going to mark my territory. I'm going to tell you I'm here right now. Day 2, day 3, with day 4, whatever it is, I'm here.
Yep.
And I'm going to be here. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, JT. You put it perfectly.
Now, what does when coaches see that? So now on the other flip side, can being too aggressive with your teammates and can it go too far? Is there a line that you can cross or a line that you can step over?
Absolutely.
As well.
It's a line there, but great head coaches have nipped that in the bud ASAP. We got the leadership we got here. I'm not even something I even think about. I think McDermott, he nipped that in the bud real quick. So it's all about leadership, and I think we got great leadership. If we were a team like, I don't know, the Browns, right? I think it'd be a different thing. So with the leadership we got here, culture we got, good money.
Don't even get me started on the Browns, man. And while we're on it, if you guys see the shirt that I'm wearing, the shirt is it's an anti-racist football club shirt, and I got it from my guy Josh over there at Buff on Whack, and he's actually running. I want you guys. I put the links in the captions here, but this is what the shirt looks like front and back. It's promote anti-racism, and every one of those petals on the back of the shirt is representing a victim of the Buffalo Tops market shooting. And what he's doing is some of the proceeds of the shirt goes to Rooted in Love, which is, I think, ran by my homegirl, Tisha Parker. If you've seen me in Buffalo the last couple of months, then you probably see me somewhere with her running around. And Rooted is a nonprofit organization that provides hygiene and fresh produce to Western New York. And if you want to donate to Rooted, I also put that link in the caption as well, but that is going to be at rootedinloveinc.com, and you can buy one of these shirts at buffonwack.com, and actually I put the link in there. So great cause. I don't mind wearing it to support the community and help out there. So I'll shout out to my guy Josh for getting me this ASAP. So appreciate you, man. And let's continue to love one another. But moving on from the Kaiir Elam and Stephon Diggs, little squall, if you want to call it that. And mind you, after they got separated, Stephon Diggs did come back and catch a touchdown pass on him. So he had to let him know, hey, Rook, I'm still the All-Pro. So yeah, just to throw that little tidbit in there. I'm still Steph, baby. You know. So moving on. Von Miller obviously made some comments today that a lot of Bills fans are upset about. And then we're gonna get to the questions as soon as we're done with this topic. I see a lot of good questions in the chat, so don't worry. I see them. We're definitely gonna get to them for you. So Von is on record today for saying this here, and I'll read it off. Josh Allen reminds me of myself. His house reminds me of my house. He loves to have everybody over. He wants everybody to kick it. He has the O-line over, the D-line over, the receivers, and it has a college vibe. It's Buffalo. There is nothing else to do in Buffalo, and it's not like you have any other options. What else could you possibly do? Sit at home or kick it with the guys? And here we go. A lot of Bills Mafia had a problem with this particular statement. Why? I don't know. Every time somebody says that, hey, there's not much to do in Buffalo, Bills Mafia has a problem with it. Can we please stop? Okay? This is a man who is from Texas. He played in Denver. He just played in Los Angeles. He has a $120 million contract. Okay? Mind you, when I come home to Buffalo, I find things to do. I do find things to do at times, but I also don't have $100 million in the bank. So, and if I did have $100 million in the bank, it may not be anything to do. James, can you please speak on this somewhat? Because I don't know.
People too sensitive. You know, I mean, it depends on what you like, right? If you're a person that likes to be out and about and doing a lot, if you from Los Angeles, so to say, or you from a city like that, where New York City, right in the heart of New York City, there's a lot going on. It could be a Wednesday night, you can go out and club is packed, whatever it is, right? That's a lot different than living in Buffalo, New York. I mean, that's just the reality. I'm from Buffalo, born, raised, love Buffalo. You know, it's tatted on me, but it's just the reality of some people. Everybody has a different opinion and outlook. Everybody's not going to view things like you. Like me, I thought Connecticut was boring as heck. I don't go out. Like, I don't party and stuff. It just wasn't much for me to do. You know, I don't mean it was bad. It just wasn't much for me to do. And that's no offense to people in Connecticut. CCSU, love it to death. As you see, love CCSU. But it wasn't very fun. You know what I mean? No. It just, for me, it wasn't. So, I mean, for him, to him is maybe just not a lot to do. That don't mean that he never said Buffalo sucks. It's just boring.
No.
It's just not a ton of things to do. Hey, kicking it with the fellas. What's wrong with it? If that's the case, cool. We don't got players, knock on wood. We don't got players in the news because they doing this, all these crazy things. Focus on football, win games. And find some things to do. It's things to do, but I don't look at it as bad at all.
Because you don't look at it as bad because it wasn't bad. He wasn't even talking about the city. He was mentioning the city and talking about how Josh Allen has his teammates over at all times. That's what he was mentioning. And here we go. We pull the negativity out of it. Oh, he said there's nothing to do in Buffalo. No. There's not a lot to do in Buffalo, okay? You're either going to South Buffalo, you're going to North Buffalo, you're going to Chippewa. 80% of people end up on Chippewa, okay? There's not much to do. And honestly, for a guy at his stature and his pedigree, there's not a lot of privacy either. I'll tell you what, I was sitting at Frankie Primo's restaurant. I'm going to stop mentioning all these people until they start paying us for sponsorship. People, don't name names out here. I was at Frankie Primo's the other year, and we were eating, and I didn't realize I saw two guys in the back eating with hoodies on, right? Didn't realize who they were. Tall guy. So the guy walked right by me, white hoodie. Thought it was somebody asked me, I was like, oh, who's that guy? I said, I don't know, probably a baseball player. Because like obviously you see Bison's players and things around. Didn't think nothing of it. Later on, next day, I get home, and I look on Frankie Primo's website. That guy in the white hoodie was Josh Allen. Another guy with him was what's our old center we had there from the Jets there? We just released him last year. Or we didn't release when they signed him back. The guy who was pulling Brian Winters.
Yeah,
he's with Brian. He's with Winters. And I'm like, oh, you know, but that's how when you go out downtown Buffalo as a big name like that, that's kind of how you have to hide. You do. You have to hide. You have to be really incognito because it's very easy for someone to spot you out, and there's not a lot of privacy areas. Like, I mean, obviously, a lot of the guys go to 500 Pearl, and they'll sit them on the other side, but you can see them. You know, they're there. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like I'm with you, James. I live in Connecticut too. There's not much to do here. Yeah. That's why I have a good time when I come home back to Buffalo. So I get it, you know. Shout out to Elmer's because that's where everybody went at CCSU, and they still go. The CCSU is Elmer's, and yes, if you were wondering, James, it's still open.
Oh man, Elmer's was a spot, man. I'll go get my wings, man. People, man, they tell you like, dude, they're like, Mal, you are all American. Everybody know you on campus, and you just be chilling. I'm at home chilling. Like, that's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm chill. You know, so
right.
That Elmer's, man, go there get my wings. Mm-hmm. Then it was Romo's. They had the 50-cent wings. No, it was 25-cent wings on Monday nights.
Yep. Yeah. That is long gone.
Oh, we know that.
And you know, and Sydney Martinez, Jack, she makes a good point. Willis McGay, he said it. Vaughn has mentioned it a little bit now. I believe Jordan Matthews said it. He said in a little bit different manner. He's talking about making babies, but we're not even gonna get into all that and what he's talking about. There's been multiple players that said it. You know, so he's not like Marcy Bullock said earlier. He's not here to play. He's not here to go out. He's here to play football and win games. He signed to Buffalo to win a championship. And believe you me, if Buffalo was not a Super Bowl contender, we would still not be getting players like Von Miller. That's why we went through the stretch that we did. Yep, and Mike Back says Marshawn Lynch said it too. Yes. Like I said, so people go to places like Green Bay, New England, and I can name a few more, Minnesota, to win Super Bowls or contend. You don't sign those places unless they grossly overpay you if you're not contending. Buffalo's not a Super Bowl contender, so that will have guys to come here. But obviously, you think Sean McDermott cares if it ain't nothing to do? He's probably like, good, perfect, stay out of trouble, read your playbook, watch your film, stay together as a team. So either way, I mean, I think that I'm with you, man. I think the people in the Mafia get way too sensitive about people saying so. He wasn't disrespecting the city, but I'm gonna be real with you. There ain't a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why a lot of people go over the border to Canada. There's not a lot of things to do. And if you talk to any of these former players, Lee Evans, Stevie Johnson, all these guys in the from back in the day, when the team wasn't winning and they were still partying because the team just wasn't winning, they were doing it in Canada for a reason. So, like I said, chill out, man. Relax. Take a chill pill. He ain't saying nothing bad. You know, and everybody's not always gonna say Buffalo's the greatest city ever lived in. Everybody's not always gonna say that. So get over yourselves. But either way, I'm gonna take a couple of these questions before we get off air here. Like I said, we said we were gonna keep it kind of short. You know, we're a little tired. We ain't been air in a while, so we may be just a little out of breath. But no, I'm just joking. We can talk football all day and all night. One of the questions that was asked here, I saw my man up there, Cody Wells, had asked, what do you think Zach Moss's usage would be this season? I think that's a good question. Now, obviously, you guys know I don't normally talk about Zach because I work with Zach, so it's kind of confidential, so I don't really speak on him too much. But I will answer this, and I'll give you, James. For one, I do think he's on this roster. I do think he's going to make this team. I think there's a very good niche for him on this roster. And because I think that the Bills are not going to retain Tywan Jones, I do think they'll carry the three backs and him, Moss, Singletary, and Cook. I think his usage is going to be I think it's going to be more than what people think it is. It is. I think Ken Dorsey, and you've alluded to this point in the past, James, I think Ken Dorsey is going to commit to the run a lot more than people think he is. They've already said that Josh Allen is committed to protect himself more this season. I think Ken Dorsey is going to keep him out of trouble. So I think you're going to see less QB reads and use less QB options. You'll still see it. You'll see timely ones, but I think you'll see less of them. I think Zach's still going to be your goal line back like he was, I think, in 2020 before he got injured.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna go back to that role. And if he's effective on the game and he's getting you 4.5, you may see him take over some games. When you back at the U, Ken Dorsey, the teams he was on, those running backs, it was rolling with the hot hand.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he had Willis McGahee, who hand was never cold too much, and he had Clinton Forrest, who was never really too cold either. But they roll with the hot hand. I think you're gonna get a lot of that in Buffalo this year. So I think his usage is gonna be obviously a game by game basis, but I think that we're gonna have more of a running game this season and more attempts. I think it'll be there, James.
Yeah, I think I'm interested to see over the next week once we get the pads on. It's going to depend on Duke Johnson. I haven't heard his name much at all.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking he's going to have a significant role. I think Singletary is going to have a Pro Bowl season. But Zach Moss is going to spell him. I think that could be a dynamic backfield. If Zach Moss is healthy and he's locked in mentally, that's my thing. If he's here, ability wise, he's great. If he could put it all together, I think he gonna have a significant role.
And I tell you, people, I keep telling everybody, like I said, one of the things I will speak on that's not confidential is he's locked in this year. Those who doubt Zach Moss, I think they're gonna be pleasantly surprised. I think last year you got a guy who spent the entire offseason rehabbing a broken ankle with screws in his ankle. And I think, mentally that's draining on you. You can't go out and do anything. You have to stay in Buffalo. And Zach's the guy who's an offseason. He does go back home to Florida for a little bit. He goes back to Utah a little bit. He goes back out to California. You can't do that when you're rehabbing because you have to stay in town and rehab every week. I think that's one thing. I see the second thing is, he wasn't up to speed, I think, going into last camp. He didn't look right at all. And I think he'd be the first to tell you, like, hey, it was harder. It's harder rehabbing it inside of a pandemic. And I think that's what it was. So I think this year you'll get a lot better Zach Moss. And I think people will be pleasantly surprised. Another good question we had was our guy Jay Spence was he was asking about the chances of signing Joe Hayden. Ooh. And James, I'll let you go first on this. The possibility of the team signing Joe Hayden.
I would love it. And that can give you the option to really, really let Trey White slow play it. And think about it. So he comes back healthy. You got a veteran, Joe Hayden. You got a first round pick in Elam. You got Dane Jackson, who played a significant role. Right. Oh man, I would love it. I would love it. We'll see, but I would love it.
All right, as far as the possibility, I think it's a very high possibility, and I think it all revolves around in the next coming weeks where do they see Trey White at? Now, me personally, I see Trey White on the PUP list and not playing till week 6. So as far as possibility, I think it needs to be a very high probable thing to happen. I think they just need to get it done. Because the reason I say this is that obviously I have no problem running Dane Jackson out. I think Dane showed us enough last year to say, hey, he can hold his own.
He can play.
Right? Kaiir Elam, we don't know what we have yet. We're only a couple days in the camp. We expect him to have up and downs as a rookie. But the biggest issue for me is this. Your first couple games in the season, you can easily fall behind in the standings in scheduling. AFC East or standings in general. You have the Rams. You have Miami. You have Pittsburgh week 5. You have Tennessee mixed in there. That's a tough. None of those games are easy games. Mind you, no game in the NFL is easy. But that's a tough test for your first five games. That's very tough. So I would say I just bring Joe Hayden in. I don't think even if Joe had to play somewhat of a reduced role once Trey White returned, I think he's okay with that at this point. I think he's more than okay with that because Joe's looking for that Super Bowl ring.
Yeah,
that's what he's trying to get to. So I think that the possibility would be high, and I think it's something that they should do because I don't think there's no way Trey White's gonna be ready for week 1. And honestly, if he is, do you want to rush him out there?
Yeah,
So I just think that's I I just think that's it. And obviously, if you start him on a pup list, he cannot play till week 6. So just keep that in mind. If he's on a pup list, you cannot play him to week 6. So, I mean, I don't think the cap room will be a problem to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, he's a veteran. He's on the market. He really can't command anything at this point. You know, I can only again. Bills have what, about $6 million in space right now, about $5-6 million in space.
Yeah, something like that.
You probably can. I'm assuming if you sign to Joe Hayden, it'll be what, a 1-year deal, probably $3.5 million at best. Probably incentive based, playtime and based, performance based. So, I think that I think it's a move that they need to make. And like I said, if anything, you always have. I remember you always have some more contracts to restructure too if you need to create a little bit more cap space. It's not a hard thing to do. As Brandon Beane said, it doesn't exist. Somehow we created $120 million for Vaughn this year. Let's not forget. So fun question. What would you think the chance of signing Fitzy to a 1-day contract and retire Buffalo Bill? I think it's pretty. I think he's going to do it at some point this season, personally. So I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen too.
Yeah. But yeah, let's see. Next question. Any word on Kim Pegula? No, I have not heard anything on Kim Pegula, but I do wish her the best in whatever recovering or if she's going through, and my prayers are still sent out to her. Mike Back makes a good point. They could also just make him inactive on the 53 for a couple weeks too. That's why I was personally things happen. They could do that too with Tre'Davious, but we'll see what happens. Like I said,
yeah, I think they keep him on the pup. They're gonna take their time.
Yeah, as I said, I don't think they want to rush him at all. But do you sign him before you extend Poyer? You can do both. And honestly, don't forget, you can also extend Poyer and create cap space by extending Poyer. It's always something you can do. You can always take money from the back, convert some of his roster bonus. I'm sorry. You can convert some of his contract into roster bonus money, and that can create $2 or $3 million. Actually, that's might be a way you could get your money for Joe Hayden while rolling over about $4 or $5 million for next year. So I think that you could do both.
That could be waiting on that extension to finish the extension with him to sign Joe Hayden. So that can be all tied together too. You never know.
Question: why are you here? Thinking about this. Drew Rosenhaus was at camp the first day. Do you think the Bills brass talked anything about extension with Jordan Poyer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He ain't came in town to watch up close and personal. He live in Miami. He would have been down there in Miami in that big mansion of his, feet kicked up, chilling, just enjoying life. He came up here to talk business and finalize some things. So that's my opinion.
I'm with you. I'm like, Drew Rose, he don't just show up to anything for no reason, man. It's either contract talks or it's a photo op. He didn't need the photo op in Buffalo. So,
yep.
Cody Wells says, would you sign OBJ with the amount of receivers we have? There were some rumors. Not right now.
I wouldn't.
I mean, he's not even healthy right now. Anyway, you got to wait to about halfway through the season for him to be healthy because he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. So that's the latest you could tear it. He may not be healthy this whole season, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So if I'm going to entertain anything about OBJ, it's not going to be until like week 10, honestly, week 8, week 10. I'm going to look where my team is. If I feel like, hey, we need a little bit of extra help, then I'll entertain it. But not right now. And as far as him fitting the culture, yeah, I think he fits the culture because I think at this point, the Bills culture is what it is. That's already been built. Now, if you're coming into it, it's your obligation to fit in because if you don't fit in,
you're
just like Bill Belichick, you're gone. Just like Bill Belichick did for years. You're either gonna fit in or you're not gonna be here. You don't have it's no longer optional, no matter who you are. So I don't think that's a problem. If he wants to win a Super Bowl ring, I don't think it's a problem. And I don't I don't necessarily think that OBJ ever was not a culture fit. Now he's kind of a culture icon, which makes him an easy target for the media. But really, when he went to Cleveland, I mean, look what happened with Baker Mayfield. Now, mind you, I don't like the way him and his father handled the situation in Cleveland, but Cleveland just gave Baker Mayfield away for a bag of Fritos.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot right there. Didn't disagree with him. Just disagree with how he handled it.
We damn near got as much for Lee Smith than they did for Baker. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. We did. So I mean, just saying, man, that's the truth. So like I said, I wouldn't think about OBJ. It has to be way in the middle of the season, and this team would have to, for me to make that move, this team would have to be faltering. I don't see them faltering, so I don't even think that's even going to be an option. So probably not, to be honest. But no, I mean, I think we pretty much hit on everything today, man. We'll be back. We should be back next Tuesday. I'll check my work schedule and make sure I'm all set. Wait, what day is it?
Today's Wednesday.
Damn, man, I'm all off. I thought it was. I'm telling you, it's Tuesday for the Tuesday touchdown. It's Wednesday. You see, man, I'm all out of whack and all out of sorts. It's all right though. Doesn't matter. The Bills are football's back, and any final thoughts, Mallory, before we get off anything?
I'm just hoping everybody stay healthy. Just some muscle tightness and soreness going on right now, which is typical when you go everyday grind. But waiting to see some of these battles. I want to see what Duke Johnson going to do. I want to see what Tavon Austin going to do.
Yeah.
So I want to see what Nick McLeod is going to do.
Your guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm rooting for because we don't have a lot of speed in that back end. If you add what you got, Elam and you adding two guys that can move. So you add some athleticism, some speed to that secondary. I want to see this D-line mesh and just gel. So, and I think Trey Evans him and Ed Oliver are going to have phenomenal seasons, and ready to see it.
Yeah, you know what? And I think next week we'll talk about the impact because Deion Dawkins has some interesting things in. We didn't get to it about how Von Miller's impacting the offensive lineup going against him. So next week I'll pick your brain on the reps of Spencer Brown and how fast that can mature a guy personally like him going against Von day in and day out.
Yeah.
One more question for my guy Adam. He snuck in a last question real quick, and I'm going to answer it. I said I'll answer everyone. Singletary has incredible numbers with respect to the run game that they have given him. Do you consider him a number one or a split role? Me personally, I think he's a number one running back. I mean, I like split roles for running backs anyway in this day and age of football, but he's definitely a number one. And I thank you for talking about the numbers, Adam, because me and James have been screaming this for 3 years.
Yeah, it depends on your role as your definition of a number one, right? I think he's the first back in a split role, if that makes sense. You could be he's 1,000 to 12-yard back in this league, 1,200-yard back in this league. But that means I would need somebody to spell him because he's not a Delvin Cook. He's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not those in regards you'll be able to give him the ball. He just run. He's the number one guy in the split role. But he's a very good running back.
Makes sense. And thank God for us that Josh Allen is not a Kirk Cousins. No disrespect to Kirk Cousins. He's not a Carson Wentz. So we don't have to give our running back the ball 300 times in a year to try to possibly squeak out wins. Unlike those guys up there in New England eating clam chowder. Just saying, mac and cheese time. But either way, it was good to be back on air tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I'm also I don't know if she's still watching. This is the first show I believe we've done since the passing of our friend over there at Bills Mafia RX, Robert Gardner. If you guys were in Bills Mafia, then you definitely know who Robert was, and he was such a kind soul and a guy who would do anything for his other Bills Mafia members and who supported us from day one. And next week, I forgot. I wish I would have known to put a picture up. We have a picture, one of his pictures he had with me and the original guys from Cold Front and stuff. And that one hits home a little bit for me. You see people pass the Bills Mafia, but Rob hits home for me in the chest a little bit, because I was close to him, and I think he messaged me the week before, maybe a couple of days before he passed, I think, and just a great individual, and we're gonna miss him. And I know for me this season, I'll be thinking about him all season. And Marcy, I'll be thinking about you as well, and we'll get together when I get to Buffalo too, and we'll do some things, and I'll see what I can help you with, and maybe we can help Bills Mafia RX continue Robert's legacy on. So, like I said, I wanted to say that before I got off because, I think that hit home for a lot of people. And just want to say, Marcy, we put our arms around you. We still got you in our prayers, and we love you. All right. So, Guys, that's it. We'll catch you guys next week. I don't know what day. We don't really have a set schedule right now, with the season not going on. But as news come, we'll come on. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. It's Not the Person. I'm your host, JTM, and that's my guy, co-host. It's NFL Pedigree, James Mallory. We out.